So let's say today you want to sell your business and you spent 20 years building this business and you're ready to get out. It's time to exit. But here's what most business owners don't realize. Without the right value drivers in place, you could be leaving 50, 60, 70% of the sale price on the table. And today we're going to talk about a case, the Schumacher Steel Company, and 9 value drivers that took this company from $5 million in revenue to $39 million in exit in just 7 years. Hi, I'm Tom Perone, and I'm the president of New England Consulting Group. And I've been working with business owners since 1970, helping them create financial clarity so that what they're building, they get to enjoy. So why do value drivers matter? Well, because basically they are the tools that run the company, that create the value, that at the end of the day, when you're ready to exit and transition your business, those are the most important factors of your business because they are the elements that allow your company to run, be successful, have better cash flow, be scalable. And how are they implemented? With a good next level management team, which is the premier value driver. And we're also going to talk about that. Because without them, growth stalls and businesses fail. It's that simple. So learn about value drivers, and today we're going to talk about 9 value drivers in this example of the Schumacher Steel Company. Transferable value, that's a term you want to know. Transferable value is really what's the company worth without the owner? Can it run on its own? And remember, if you have the owner and you rely on the owner, without that owner, you risk the cash flow disruption. And here's a perfect example of having an owner kind of keep everything in their head so that you need this owner all the time is the insiders that are running the company, the middle management. They're not going to pledge their personal assets to buy the company because a lot of times in these small companies, it's from within that the sale begins. But if the owner has control and keeps everything in their head and there's no procedure, why would they? Passing the business to the children fails because, again, without the owner, there's no cash flow. Third-party buyers walk away because they don't want to be in a business where there's not procedures, and they don't want to have one person who dictates how successful the business is going to be because they know everything. And family income certainly is at risk because if the owner decides over these years that they are not going to delegate, build a middle management, keep everything within, at some point that's going to implode on them. So we're going to use the Schumacher Steel Company as our case example of how value drivers are so important. And there's a case that it is in the guide that I'm going to give to you. And basically this is very interesting because they started with 2 employees. They ended up with 25. This is over a 7-year period of growth. They hired a new president. They ended up with $5 million in annual revenue. They built all this up over 7 years. The company was sold for cash at $36 million, and of course $3 million on top of that was the buildings. So they built a world-class company in 7 years after being stagnant for many, many years. So the primary value drivers, you'll see 9 of them here, and I'm going to take them one by one. But the important one and the primary one is next level management. So whether you are a very small company or a larger company, the first thing you need to think about is building a middle management, because as you're going to see in a little while, that's the key to building value drivers and making them work within your company. Because at the end of the day, by implementing these value drivers, it creates profitability in your company, cash flow, and true value, a transferable business on the other end. What does that mean to you? It means wealth. So, like I mentioned, next level management, that's the mother of all value drivers. You need that. Whether you're a small company, large company, like I mentioned before. So, where do you get management? Well, you find them. Sometimes you bring in very good people and you hire them and you have them focus. They're very motivated. They're very good at what they do. Sometimes you can't do that. You already have a management team. Well, the next thing you can do is you can take the existing managers and share with them your vision, where you want to go, and see if they can grow into the roles that you want. You know, I always say, especially in smaller companies, you want people that think like owners. You don't want people that think like employees. They don't make good managers. The people that think like owners, who are incentivized, they are the people you want. You need to reward them. You need to give them something different for them to put the extra effort in. And as an owner, you really have to have a vision. You will hear me say work on your business, not in your business. The management works in your business. You work on it. That's the vision. Where do you want to go? How do you want to change things? Sharing those visions with your company. And by doing that, you'll grow your company through your middle management, just like Schumacher Steel did by bringing in a new manager. So a number 2 operating system would be sustainable cash flows. You want things documented. You want standard procedures. You have to show the purchaser of the company that profitability will continue after the sale. Things are repeatable processes that are in force and without having to rely on heavy investments. And a good buyer, a purchaser, looks for these value drivers. And one of the things that Schumacher did was they got certified through ISO, which increased their credibility and put them in a very, very nice position of credibility because of their standards. This is a very simple one, straightforward. Don't have your customer base be more than 10% of your sales. So diversify your customer base, expand it. You have new lines, get new customers. If you're concentrated, purchasers for your company are not interested. It's that simple, and the reason for that is that customers that are not diversified are loyal to the owner. So when the owner leaves, where do they go? It's that simple, and that's what Schumacher did. He diversified his company base, his customer base, and that appealed to purchasers. Proven growth strategies, basically, there's got to be a written plan for the future. You've got to show that you're growing. You got to show that you have a growth strategy, new lines, new customers, new territories. You got to show some kind of growth in history. In other words, have you grown in history or have you been flat? Because purchasers are looking for these companies that are growing and have the potential, but they had to grow to some degree. And again, Schumacher showed and had a blueprint of what was happening as he started this climb for market value. Recurring and resistance revenue and customization, commonization. So basically you're looking at consistent revenue that's sustainable, recurring revenue, and strategies that the customer put a value to. And when I think of that, I think of Cintas, who offers uniforms, supplies, industrial supplies, mats, things of that nature that people do need. So whether the economy's up or down or the weather's good or bad, they still need it. And Schumacher did the same thing. And because of those maintenance contracts, Schumacher was adding 15% of reoccurring revenue. So this worked for them, and it would work for any company, but you have to think in the mindset, how do I do this with my product, my services, and my company? Number 6 is good and improving cash flow. If you can show through documentation and history, the purchaser, that you have good cash flow. It's very consistent. That value driver, again, helps to get a premium for the time comes when you exit your business and they see that this particular part of your business is very consistent. They don't have to worry about improving the cash flow, losing it. It's sustainable and it's increasing. Another element, a value driver, is the ability to show that you could scale your business, that you can increase profits, that you can have a repeatable model. McDonald's and a lot of other companies, Costco, those companies, they're repeatable. They take the same procedures, put them over here, that works. You put them over there, that works. And if, again, this is something that the purchasers want to see, that it's scalable. There's a competitive edge. What's the edge you have? Well, for example, Apple, they have that, they sync in their ecosystem. All their devices, you put something on your Mac and it's on your iPhone and it's on your iPad. That's so unique. Plus customer loyalty. That's a competitive edge. People are very loyal to Apple. Costco has membership. So things like the Amazon, people who have been involved with Amazon found out how easy it was to shop there. They made themselves very available with all kinds of products. The first thing people say is, oh, let me check Amazon, what they have. That's the first thing that goes through their mind. So these are competitive edges because they built up to that. And again, when you show that in business, that you're competitive and you have a certain niche, that again calls for a premium. Foresight and controls, that's really big. Reliable financial reporting is the key thing. One of the things I've always said to clients is you got to get your act together on your reporting, because people are not going to walk into your business, think about buying it, if you can't prove to them with documentation where you are and where you're going. Usually a very good accounting firm will make sure you have that. So, like you said, growth must be fed. Forecast the cash flow of the growth plan a full year ahead. So having the foresight to see what's going to happen and project out, and being there most of the time because you have history of being there, that is very, 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 very big. And in the Schumacher situation, they brought in a CPA firm that was experienced in this area for their size. So I've given you a lot to think about, but what's important is that value drivers, know them. I have put a guide in there you go, a guide you can download in the memo. There's a guide there that's John Brown's definitive guide to value drivers. It's everything about this video. Also, you'll see something called owner's viewpoint. Now, if you're serious about doing planning, before you do any planning with your business or whatever, you got to know where you are today. If you did any planning before January 2026, it's out of date because of the new tax law. So the owner viewpoint is a very good tool we've been using for years, and it takes 3 minutes to do. And if you do that, I will send you a report of where you are, but where you might want to be in the future, changes that you need to make because of the past changes. So if you do that, I'll send you a report. And if you like this video, please give us a like, please subscribe. We come out with 2 or 3 videos, maybe 4 sometimes a month. And they're all about business growth and helping business owners, small business owners from 5 to 50 employees grow and do the right things in business to enhance their value. And there's a very good video that I have after this video that is all about value drivers and growth of your business. I've often said to clients, when do you start planning for your exit? And I always say it's when you start your business or when you buy your business, because it takes a long time to put these value drivers in your business And the value drivers are the thing that get you your life's effort in money. In other words, selling your company. So you're going to be working. You might as well start learning how to put value drivers in, because the longer you wait, you forfeit cash. And the other part of that, number three, is think about this and have a mindset that what you're really doing is preparing the business to eliminate you there. In other words, delegation, middle management. I always say to our owners, think of 2 or 3 things you want to do that you do well. Teach them, but continue doing them. Everything else should be left to your middle management and your team. And if you wait, you have less wealth that you'll get out of your business, because it takes such a long time to get these value drivers working together. So again, if you're in a position where you're not going to exit for 10 or 15 years, 5 years, whatever, you're in a good position to start implementing what we've been talking about today. So in conclusion, you've learned a lot, but the guide's going to help you out once you download it. To grow your business, you need to install value drivers. To install value drivers, you need next middle management, people that can do this for you. You have to step away because you can't do all this. Your job is to focus on the mission and working on your business. Now, if you need someone to talk to about growing your business, give me a call, email me. I'll gladly talk to you and send to you a few people that work with businesses and help them grow. So I want to thank you very much for taking the time for this video. Again, I'm Tom Perrone, founder, president of New England Consulting Group, and we help business owners find financial clarity to build their business so they can enjoy what they're building. Thank you.